here with the Cafferty file.
Do you know offhand, how many terms has John McCain been in the Senate?
About 20 years or so.
Like 3 terms,
yeah,
maybe more? Okay. Now that he's the nominee, the Republican nominee, people are starting to wonder who's going to fill out that number 2 position on the ticket. The New York Times reports that McCain and his advisors insist that there is no short list of potential names for vice president. Instead, and here's the reason I asked Wolf that question, John McCain has directed his campaign to study past methods that nominees have used to pick running mates. It's a 71-year-old guy. He spent half his adult life in Washington, D.C. He's run for president twice, 3-term U.S. senator, and he's going to have his campaign study how to get a vice president. There's no hope. There is just no hope. Some suggest McCain's selection of a vice presidential candidate is more important than usual, given his age. If he wins, McCain will be 72 when he's sworn in, oldest candidate ever elected to a first term. Of course, there are already some names floating around out there. Several governors, Florida's Charlie Crist, Minnesota's Tim Pawlenty, whose executive experience could be a plus for the ticket. Former governors, too. Pennsylvania's Tom Ridge, he of the, clear plastic sheeting and duct tape, been mentioned as a possible vice president. There are also former governors Mitt Romney, Mike Huckabee, who until recently were McCain's rivals. One expert says that McCain basically has 3 choices when it comes to a vice president. Pick a conservative who could rally the base, pick someone who has crossover appeal to try to attract independents, or make a geographical decision and try to win a specific swing state or region. These are all things that the campaign will be studying, no doubt. Here's the question. How should John McCain go about selecting his running mate? Go to CNN.com/Cafferty file. You can post a comment on my blog. How should John McCain, is the question this hour, go about selecting his running mate? William in San Diego, McCain's main weakness, the conservative base. Look at the numbers in Texas. 38% Huckabee, 51% McCain. If he goes into the general election lacking 500,000 votes in Texas, he'll stand no chance against the Democratic nominee. It's vital he choose either Huckabee or Romney and appeals to all the conservatives that he has so far failed to impress. Eileen writes, John McCain has to pick someone with more than a room temperature IQ who acknowledges the diversity of religious belief in this country. David writes, George Bush may punk him into picking Jeb Bush. Sky says maybe he should look over at Shady Pines. There should be plenty of his contemporaries there. He might even find one who agrees with his brilliant suggestion to keep our GIs in Iraq for 100 years. Ed in Houston, McCain ought to let Rush Limbaugh help him pick the vice presidential candidate as soon as possible. It sounds by his comments today regarding a Clinton-Obama dream ticket that he'll be re-entering rehab again soon. Jake in New York, John McCain ought to choose a somewhat younger running mate with shared ideals and executive experience. I personally hope he picks Charlie Crist. Dan in Gulfport, Florida. Unfortunately, a lot of potential candidates are in jail or soon will be. McCain might be better off if he placed an ad in the jobs available section of the Times. The nice thing is that after Dick Cheney, the bar for vice president is so low that it won't be difficult for anyone to hop over it. My personal recommendation would be Senator Larry Craig. He'd lock up the public restroom vote, and there might not be many other places Republicans will be able to find votes this year. And Vinny in New York writes, if he wants to win, he better dig up Ronald Reagan. That's all I have at this time.
That's enough. Thank you very much, Jack, for that.